Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel again. I've got a fantastic friend, a very old time friend. I think we've known each other for about 20 years now, if I'm correct, right?
Close to or thereabouts. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, more than 20 years.
Yes.
2004 is 20 years ago, so yeah, more than 20 years.
Wow.
I have Bisola here with me. Bisola Adibwe. Wow, we grew up together, lived together at some point. And Bisola is a customer experience specialist, and she's here to tell us about her journey, her background, and she's got wealth of experience in the agile space too. So we're going to learn a lot from Bisola in this session. So, hi Bisola, do you want to introduce yourself to us?
Yes. Thank you very much for having me today. It's good to catch up and always, connect with you again. And then fantastic stuff you're doing
Pleasure.
on, letting the society, letting the tech environment, letting everybody know about Agile. I really believe Agile is
Mhm.
the way to go, and then we'll get into it. But before I start, quick intro. I'm Bisola, like Jide has said. Point of correction, I'm now Ogboye, so you may get fined. They called me Adeboye, so
Yeah,
that's
I
okay.
know.
Um, quick intro. I currently work as a customer experience senior manager in one of the leading charity organizations in the UK. I have been
Mhm.
doing customer experience pretty much since I started my professional career. I started, in the banking industry in Nigeria. I did customer experience literally for about 7 years in there. And then moving on to my career path, I moved into fintech. And everything I've done along that line has pretty much been in the tech industry or in the tech space. I've worked with a unicorn, I've worked with startups. I've gone ahead to, work on several projects. And of course, once you start working on tech projects and once you start doing things that need like speed or things that need quick delivery, Agile gets introduced. So that's pretty much about
Mm.
me. Yeah.
Right, nice. So, I mean, very brief intro. Now, the way she's introduced herself is not that short. It's not that short. I know it sounds smooth and easy, right? But it's we've seen a lot together, and
Yeah.
her experience is very interesting. You hear everything as we go on. But first of all, what drew you to work with into customer experience? What's it about customer experience that you say, okay, this is what I want to do?
Right. To be honest, it's almost like a bittersweet story, and I'll backtrack. Um,
Mm.
Early in the years, like 2011, I had finished from one of the most prestigious training schools, banking training schools. I'll mention the name Access Bank. And then once you finished,
Mm.
the training school, you'll be sent to or posted to a department or a team, And I got posted to customer experience. And that's how it all began. It began in 2011, 2012. I got posted to customer experience team. I didn't know anything about customer experience. That was the first time I was going to be hearing it. And I started doing it. I enjoyed it. There's a lot of conceptions about customer experience as a career
Mhm.
path. And today, if I'm able to, I'll demystify a lot of things that people, think about customer experience.
Mm.
After doing that, I moved into the insurance space. And then I
Okay.
also applied, all my learnings, all my knowledge. And then I moved into fintech. I've done health tech, I've done fintech, I've done insurance, I've done financial services. Now I'm doing charity. And one thing has remained consistent. I have been doing customer experience all these years. If it wasn't a good career path, I wouldn't be towing that line. And if I didn't see the opportunities in it, I definitely won't be towing that line. So by faith or by stroke of luck or by, how God wanted it, I got thrown into that department.
Mm.
The quick test, the fun fact is anytime I try to go out of customer experience because there's all these new careers that are coming up, I find myself going back into customer experience one way or the other. And I've
Mm.
never gone back for the wrong reason. So I hope that has convinced you or let you know, how I've been in customer experience all these years. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, good. So now, but I know you started back in Nigeria with customer experience, and
Yes.
then now you work in the UK,
Yeah.
still in customer experience.
Right.
So, I'm sure there are major differences
Right.
within the two different, culture, everything. There's so many differences
Correct.
that we could highlight. So, but how did you transfer those skills that you learned in Nigeria and bring it into this part of the world?
Thank you for asking that question, Judy. The first misconception about customer experience is people think that customer experience is about customer service. And
Mm,
even though it's an offset or it's a subset or there's some part of it that speaks to customer service, it's not, you know, I've worked in some companies and they'll be like, oh, you headed the customer experience team. And the next thing is, oh, this customer called, this customer service type of thing. I always correct that notion quickly. And when I came here and then I, started applying for jobs, I found out that this was actually a very prestigious role, you know,
mm,
and I didn't need to switch career paths. There was the buzz
mm,
around business analyst, scrum master, project manager, product
mm,
managers. And I started doing my research and I saw that the pay grade and the pay scale across this career paths and these industries were almost the same thing, right? They're six-figure customer experience jobs. They're five-figure customer experience jobs. Now, in terms of, picking out my experiences, because I'd worked in so many industries and I'd worked across, this is like 10 years of experience. It was the skills you learn in customer experience are very transferable skills, right?
mm.
There are things that are very important, like for example, your customer journey mapping. you know, these are skills that,
Yeah.
as long as you're in the service industry, you have a product, there are things you must know. These are some of the things I learned in
Mm,
Nigeria.
mm,
Customer satisfaction, net promoter scores, user stories, how to build all those user stories. These are things that are like things
mm.
that you must know, right? How to write business
So
papers,
these
all
are these are things you learned in Nigeria,
yes, these are some of the things that I learned in Nigeria. And when I started
right?
interviewing, I saw that it was like easy peasy. But one thing that sets,
Mm,
the difference is the use of technology here in the UK
mm,
in enhancing customer experience. I found out that customers or businesses leverage a lot on technology. Like everything you hear, like when I get on calls and when I get on meetings, everything I hear is how
mm,
to use technology to foster customer experience.
mm.
It's not like a struggle.
Okay.
Back home, you have to do a lot of convincing, right? To convince your stakeholders or to convince business managers or to convince like product owners why we should invest in
Mm,
technology to move a certain feature or to move a product
right.
forward or to enhance a feature or anything that regards technology. They see it as a big expense, right? Or they
Mm-hmm.
see it as like the resource was probably not made available. And then
Mm,
here, I don't need to convince anybody to say, oh, we need to do this for the
mm,
customer. Like everything is readily available. Is it like a CRM system,
mm,
like the use of data insight and analytics, the use of your Power BI. Nobody's arguing anything.
mm,
Like once you say it's for the customer, trust me, like you're home and
mm,
dry, you have all the resources available to you. But back home, you would usually do a lot of convincing. You have to get to people like maybe the MD or write to an ED to back up, So I also noticed that back home, customer experience is usually second place, right? It's always like back burner. Even though the narrative is
right.
changing now because, there are a lot of fintechs that are coming up and they are doing innovative stuff, a lot of
Okay.
organizations still see customer experience as a back burner role. But here is not the
Mm,
same thing. Here, there are several variations of customer experience roles. There's customer experience project manager, there's customer experience business analyst, there's customer experience product manager. At the end of the day, you see that value that you're giving to a business from customer experience is very important. And I think that's why I'm very proud of the fact that it's what I do as a professional. I've
yeah.
been doing it for 12 years now or thereabout. And I don't think I'll trade that experience for anything because it's worth a lifetime.
I love it. I love it. Love it. So, can you tell us what are your major roles and responsibilities as a customer experience personnel?
Right. As a customer experience professional, my roles are spread widely. And this is the thing with customer
Right.
experience. Because many teams are customer facing. If you're a marketer, you're customer facing. If you're a product owner, you're customer facing.
Mm,
If you're a product manager, you're customer facing. A lot of things that businesses do that aim to generate revenue are customer facing. That is where you find a customer experience person. Anything that you're doing that literally has an interface with a customer is where you will find a customer experience person. Be it internally,
mm,
nor externally, right? As long as you're doing something that impacts the customer for real, you'll find a customer
Yeah.
experience person. I don't have any set rules, like, and that's the tricky thing because with customer experience, there's really no process. You have to be like a creative person. You have to come up with strategies to improve the processes. So it's not like there's a
Yeah.
laid out rule that says, oh, the framework for customer experience, then you start with A and B. There's really nothing. You have to think through the lens of the customer. So a lot of people find it like
Right.
a bit challenging. And I get
So
really, okay, let me hear
it's
you.
it's it's almost like putting yourself in the shoes of the customer.
Correct. That's it. Like, so I want to buy a
Right.
product. So as a product manager, for example, you've built this really fantastic product. And then in your mind, you have gone through the length and breadth, done all your research. And I just come and floor your process and say, no, as a customer, based on customer feedback or based on research, this doesn't work. I have to convince you why it's not going to work because I have to come with either data, I have to come with some level of research, I have to convince you. And sometimes this is how we used to be back home. They'll say, oh, since you said our house is smelling, come and clean it. Because they see customer
Right.
experience as the people that literally just puncture holes in people's jobs. But we always tell them that we are here to make your jobs easier because if you involve us, so what I've laid as, or what I understood as business practice in most advanced organizations, anything you're doing, any project you're working on, you have a customer experience person with you in the beginning of that project. So right now you ask me like, what are my roles and responsibilities? I have several projects that I'm working on, and right from the initiation of that project, I get mapped to that project and I follow your process through everything that has to do with the customer. If you're writing a customer document that has to do with, like, for example, go to market strategy, or that has to do with like user journey maps, that has to do with the onboarding process of a customer, for example, anything that has to do with mapping that product right from the initiation stage to go live or market launch, that's where you'll find me. So I'm literally following your process, how a customer is going to receive this product once it goes live. How easy is it for them to onboard? Let me see your customer journey. I'm going to puncture your customer journey. If I'm not the one developing it, I'm going to look at your Aziz journey. I'm going to identify the pain points of the customer. I'm going to identify reasons why this approach or that approach may be better. Right. So I'm going to be following your process with you to see how that product can be better. And the beauty of it is when you go live or when that product launches, you will come back to thank us to say, oh, if not for the customer experience team, right, it would have gone bonkers or it would have gone haywire.
Yeah.
I've also been in situations where they called us after the product has launched to come and do fire brigade
That's called
approach.
life.
Yes. So customers will now call us and say, oh, you guys just launched a new feature. Customers will call the business to say, you guys just launched a new feature. What is it about? No customer education, no user guides, no FAQs, no tutorials, nothing. And this person has gone live. No publicity, nothing. And then people will now start calling customer experience. Please come and help us, come and help us develop this. Come and help us. Like, dude, where were you the whole time? Like, do you think I just
So it's
come
like
here
a
to play?
campaign. They're campaigning after the election.
Exactly. So then we now flex our muscles to say, no, I'm on this project, I'm not available to you. So you have to come back and say, oh, please, can you provide somebody that can kind of, then we now start releasing statements to say, oh, we start doing all the brain work to now put the product out there before the customers. And then all those things that say 5 easy ways you can, for example, 5 easy ways you can launch this XYZ, or you can use this feature. Sometimes when you see all those, you spoke, we listened. Some of those things are afterthoughts. Somebody has goofed somewhere. Then you now see you spoke, we listened. Or then you now see like people going out and then hashtag XYZ, So if you had carried like the customer experience department, from the beginning to along, right, you wouldn't have had. And that's what like we preach in every business. Like, if you have anything that impacts the customer, just get us on board. Your life will be easier. Trust me, because you don't have to walk back.
Yeah. So you guys like it's more like for good reasons you play devil's advocate.
I don't want to say devil's advocate because that's almost mixing us with compliance. But somehow, if we don't rubber stamp something and say the customer experience team has certified it gold or platinum in a really advanced company, right? Yeah, because we think of all the use cases, we think of all the scenarios, we think of all the things that could go wrong,
Mm-hmm.
we think of all the
Mm-hmm.
reasons why a customer may not use a product, and then you now go back and rethink and remap along those processes, right? In one of
Yeah.
my roles, I wouldn't call it play devil's advocate, but I used to simulate products across African countries, because the product people sometimes they don't think through. For example, let me give you a classic example. In Nigeria, when you want to use a product during your onboarding or KYC, it
Mm-hmm.
would be like your
Yep.
driver's license or NI details or
Mm-hmm.
something of that sort. Now, when you go
Yeah.
to a Kenya, it's something entirely different.
Mm.
When you go to Gambia, it's something different. You have to think of what is permissible, what is enabled, or what they allow them use in that country. But sometimes a product
Right.
manager will just write a straight out document and then it will start bouncing off. There are little nuances or little things. For example, when I want to upload my documents, right? Some apps are built in such a way that you have to upload the document live. Like you have to have the document review. Some other
Mm.
products allow you to like take a picture. So you have to think of all the things that speak to comfort. Because, for
Mm.
example, as a person, I may just dump the product and say, why can't I use something that I've saved on my phone? What if I don't have the document with me? You have to think
Right.
of all the things that can cause drop off for a
Just
certain
like
product.
applying for a UK visa now, if you're in the UK trying to renew your visa, you don't have to go to the home office or wherever. You can do everything off
From the comfort of
from
your
your phone
home
in your
or your
comfort.
phone. Yes, correct. Something of that sort. So
Right.
just thinking through every process that a customer has to go through, right? To make their lives easy and then generate revenue, because we have to also think of retention, onboarding, sign up,
Mm-hmm.
retention, loyalty, everything
Yeah.
pretty much. Yeah.
Nice, nice, nice. So now, um, being an agile coach and being, working in with agile teams for so many years, there's no how I won't see the importance of a customer experience professional in the team now. But um, I'm sure it's been very challenging coming to sprint plannings, coming to stand ups, and sprint reviews
Right.
because most times coming from a scrum master now, I don't want to hear um, something that's going to make me want to pull my eyes out in my retrospective because I don't want to hear things like that. Things that made me feel the past 2 weeks has been a waste.
Right.
So how do you approach those meetings? How do you approach agile teams? Their methodologies. How does it affect you as a customer experience person?
Right. So like you rightly mentioned, you're basically saying you don't want waste of resources, you know, and that
Mm-hmm.
is usually, I think, honestly, as a customer experience person, some of these agile approaches are literally in our day-to-day lives, but or
Right.
like as we, like do things on our business, but sometimes people don't
Mm-hmm.
realize it. When I attend daily stand-ups and, listen, like to the conversations from the scrum masters, the engineers, the developers, and sometimes how they prioritize features. From a customer experience person, I'm looking out for my customer. Sometimes you go at
Mm.
loggerheads because I'm looking out for my customer. You, as a developer, you may be looking out for a salesperson. Maybe a salesperson has come to, like bamboozle you to say, this is what we are going to prioritize in that Scrum Master. And as Scrum Master, you're saying, this is how much resources I have, and this is what I want to
Mm.
use my sprint planning for, right? So I have
Mm.
to convince from Scrum Master to developer, anybody in that sprint planning to say, hey, I know you have this on your sprint planning, right? But can you prioritize these features? I come with facts and figures, and I'll say something
Mm.
along the lines of, this is how much we have lost because we didn't have this feature. Or this is how many
Yeah.
customers we have lost because we didn't do XYZ. And
Mm.
from that point of view, as a scrum master, I'm sure you're able to see reason to say, okay, how do we manage, be it our resources, or how do we make the best of our sprint plannings or our daily stand-ups? It's usually a
Mm.
tussle, it's usually like a hard battle. I remember one of the
Mhm.
ones where I literally dragged one of our developers to our CEO to say, or our engineers to say, this is the guy, like, this is the reason why customers don't use our products. As a matter of fact, the guy beefed me till I left the company. He beefed me because, and then when we now started following, like in the next stand-ups, he'll not be like, customer experience, are you satisfied? We have done the sign-ups across these XYZ countries, and the Scrum Master is almost like, because they're coming from the CEO, we kind of, dedicate maybe 2 sprint plannings because they would usually run like 2 to 3 weeks. And then at that point, the product
Yeah.
manager is on our side, maybe the front end
Mm.
developer is on our side, the back end developer is trying to
Mhm.
speak big tech lingo that I don't understand, and I'm like,
Right.
dude, chill, break it down. Like, break down this,
Come down to my
come
level.
down to
Come
my
home.
level. What are you saying? You are telling me that you assign how many resources for this prioritization feature, but me, I have to come with fact and figures to say that if we do this, this is what we are going to get in return. And honestly, I always come back with facts. A lot of product managers like customer experience, but they don't like customer experience. They like us when the product is working fine and everybody's happy. They don't like us when things are not going as planned. So being able to
Mm.
know how to manage your stakeholders, everything that literally applies in today's tech world, knowing how to manage your stakeholders, understanding prioritization, knowing how to write like business papers, knowing how to develop strategy documents, knowing how to convince your stakeholders, everything that applies in an agile world is what applies in the life of a customer experience person. And you must know how to communicate pretty effectively because you would
Yeah.
attend meetings where people would literally want to pull the plug on you or throw you under the
Mm.
bus. You have to be able to,
Mm.
quickly speak up, defend yourself, get your facts right, come
Yeah.
with data and numbers and like, just to defend your case. And pretty much
Yeah.
the joy is when you see all these things get materialized from a product point of view. If it's also from a process point of view, once you see that processes are changing, process optimization, business process change, and you are part of that project, you know that of course you're in a win-win situation.
Mm. Right. So, now, I'm trying to put this in a nice way, so it won't be no one will get offended.
Right.
So, how I want to know what which one you'd prefer, or which one is you, because I won't say anything is a bad way. There's no
Right.
wrong way.
No wrong or right
There's
answers. Yeah.
no wrong or right answers, right? So, but I know in Nigeria most teams don't really use agile methodologies. Most organizations, they're not there yet. They're
Right.
working towards getting there. Most things are waterfall,
Right.
and but here in the UK, we're not even 100% agile,
Yeah. Some are
right?
hybrid. Yeah. Some are hybrid.
Some are hybrid, some say they're agile, but they're not. You know, they're trying to be, but they're still very much waterfall. I've seen many organizations like that. But I know you've worked in agile with agile teams here in the UK. So which one do you prefer? Because when, for instance, bringing incorporating customer feedback to
Right.
production teams, is it always easier in waterfall methodology or agile?
Of course, it's easier in Agile today. And with
Mm.
Waterfall, I worked in the bank for 7 years. It was very waterfall. As a matter of fact, because
Mm.
we didn't have this new Agile rituals, we were still like very much old school. So everything was,
Mm.
and we used to hear things like, oh, so you speak to IT. As a matter of fact, a lot of things used to be on the back burner. And this is how it used to happen for us. Let me tell you why we suffered in the hands of Waterfall. Now, as a
Mm.
customer experience person, I was in charge of digital channels. Think your ATM, your mobile bank, and that was what like launched my career into tech, mobile bank,
Yeah.
online channels like being able to send money abroad and sorry, using your laptop online, actually mobile
Yeah.
ATMs and POSs, all the digital channels. I was managing customer experience from that angle. Now, we would roll out surveys, like quarterly surveys, and customers will come back and say, I want to be able to request for a new card from the comfort of my home. I want to be able to, all the things that we do now. I want to be able to apply for a credit card from my phone. I don't need to go to the banking hall to request for a checkbook. Like all these product
Mm-hmm.
things that you've mentioned, I would bunch everything in a report and take it to the product team and take it to IT. Jide, nothing gets done.
Mm.
Nothing, because you will hear they will literally prioritize everything that mattered to them. But these were things that were moving and shaping the industry, right? But we were
Right.
sleeping on it.
Yeah.
Now we will now see competitor bank. Now, our very best competitor, right? Competitor will just go and do something. Before you know it, you now start running rat race. This thing, we have put it out since. Right, we didn't do it. And that's simply because we were waterfall. They will tell you we don't have resource. Oh, it's not a priority at the moment. But in one of our this thing, we'll say we are innovative. Heck no, you're not innovative. You're sleeping on. Like for you to
Mm.
practice agile, you have to be innovative. And when I moved to a
Yeah.
fintech and I saw what agile meant, it was fast paced. It was
Mm.
literally, and we didn't mind. With agile, you could fall back, make mistakes, reiterate, go back.
Yeah.
We didn't mind doing
Fail
those
fast.
things. Yeah. We could fail fast and fail forward. We'll come back again, rejig it. We'll call it something 2.0, something 3.0, and we had
Mm-hmm.
exciting moments because we could realize our mistakes. But with waterfall, these like really large corporations or, businesses were afraid to, fail, and they'll say, what if it doesn't work? It was very pessimistic in nature. What if it doesn't work? What if we fail? What if we,
Very reactive.
very reactive, more reactive than proactive,
Being more proactive. Yeah.
exactly. So when I moved to fintech and I worked with like startups and I saw how quickly things were moving, I was like, this is the environment I want to be in. Like, this is definitely
Mm.
where I want to be. So I did have a stint of it in Nigeria, and it helped me appreciate it better because it was like very agile in every sense of it. Right, we follow the rituals, we do everything, we do our stand-ups, do sprint reviews.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I attend retrospectives, to see where, what we could have done better, where we didn't do
Yeah.
so well. And then it helps us, I started understanding things around technical depth, all those type of things. So it
Mm.
expanded my knowledge from a technical point of view. And then, of course, when I moved here and then on interviews or when I get on calls, I'm able to express this knowledge. I'm able to express these things that I've known and apply it. Coming here, they got the memo. Some part of my business, some part of my stakeholders are still very waterfall, and some part of my business,
Okay.
my stakeholders are agile. And with the agile team,
Mm.
I see results. I get what I need to do. I move on, and we are seeing results. Like we are delivering. With the waterfall, I wouldn't straight up calling it waterfall, but I'll just say like it's more process driven, where certain things
Mm.
have to come before the others. So not exactly waterfall because they understand the fact that this is like a blocker, right?
Right.
So we can't go
Mm.
live on this yet because it's a blocker. So I wouldn't call it waterfall. We
Right.
do appreciate agile, and
Mm.
then we are leaning on it as much as we can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic, fantastic. So, well, we've spoken of so many technical, languages and all. Let's go. Let's have fun. So, in all these things we do, right? In everything, the hard work. I won't. I don't want to say the reward is only between, the excitement just because your customers are happy.
Right.
And the pay is good, right?
Yeah. The
The pay. What should
rewarding.
we expect for from from a permanent point of view and from a contract point of view? What's the salary range like?
Of course, we know that the contract numbers are killing it out there. You see some roles like
Mm.
£500 a day, £600 a day, and you're like, FTC contract, like these numbers are good.
Wow.
But it depends on what you want as a person. I haven't, Angela, if you find anybody, let me know. I haven't found anybody in customer experience tech in the UK, like a Nigerian person. And I'm trying to grow that community. Right.
Yeah.
I'm looking to grow that community, helping people say, when you come to the UK, if you're transitioning, you don't need to transition. These jobs are there for
Mm.
real. With the what's it called? With the permanent roles, they are equally good roles, like 70K, 80K. I was applying for a role one time as a senior customer experience manager, and the lady was like, I don't know why they didn't get back to you, right? I think the manager is afraid that you're going to take his job. I felt really good. Like, like, come on, like they've seen that CV and then they're literally shaking, like, who is this Nigerian that is coming to take my job? If that type of feedback, and I've had recruiters tell me things like, girl, they put me on the spot, spoke to me and say, even directors, some of the directors that we have don't have this much knowledge. Because I've worked with big fours, I've worked with, like think of, like your KPMG, I've done projects with Deloitte, Ernst and Young, when we are like doing transformational projects, digital transformation projects, customer experience is always there, business process, internal, even like crafting your internal customer experience strategy, like helping people
Right.
understand. And if we want to be fair, like what I do basically is customer experience tech, because all the projects that I do are like driven from a digital and technical point of view, right? I've used all those lingos, I've said all those things, like I understand all those things, right? The only thing I'm not doing is coding. In some cases, I write business requirements and I sit through business requirement sessions to say, no, this is not what we want for the customer. I use all the
Yeah.
strategies, and I have a master's in business analytics. So trust me, like it cements all the knowledge that I have. So I understand, these things very well. So it's a rewarding career, highly rewarding. I'm looking for a network of, like I want to see someone that says, I used to be a customer experience manager. I used to be a customer experience manager. I was a senior customer experience associate. I moved to a fintech.
Yeah.
I crafted their customer experience strategy from start to finish. And I was able to, I didn't have to go back to like a junior officer or analyst role. I actually became a
Yeah.
senior manager in a foreign company. So for anybody out there who thinks, oh, like customer experience is not it, trust me, you would literally, and you will meet people. You will speak in meetings. You tell them, you will do everything that all that ginger that I used to do in all this. You will come here and then you still represent, for the culture and do everything. It's not a bad career path,
Right.
honestly. It's really good. It's rewarding. There are opportunities in fintech space. Everything, every tech. Jide, now let me tell you out there, right? I have done customer experience in 4 industries, right? I have
4
done
industries.
charity, I've done fintech, I've done financial services, I've done insurance, I've done health tech. About 5 actually. Yeah, I've done health, insurance, 5 industries, customer experience. And not for one day did I say, oh my goodness, who am I in this, like really, and it
Yeah.
helps me express myself better that's why I have all this knowledge. So if you're, out there, you think, you want to dump all that years of experience and start over because you think it's worth nothing, come to me. I would hold your hand and then guide you, like give you a mentorship session on how you can continue your career path. As a senior manager, I mentor people and I tell them, like, I used to have a lot of friends that when they want to relocate, they say, I have to go and start over. I'm like, you don't have to start over. Like, your experience is worth everything and it counts for something. So you go out there and, just kill it. Essay, be the best at whatever you're doing. Yeah.
You've heard. Come to her. If she's charging you, it's worth it.
No, I mean, like, I'm not following the money at the moment. I'm just trying to help people
Yeah.
because I
I
want to
know. I
see,
know.
like, people like me. I had colleagues in Nigeria, and when they come here, you hear, oh, I'm not doing customer experience again. Why? I couldn't navigate the ropes. Like, really, like, speak
Yeah.
to
Now
people.
the
Yeah.
thing is, not just from Nigeria. I was talking with someone the other day, and people from third world countries, not just Nigeria, maybe Pakistan, India, they come to this country, to the UK or to Canada or to the US, and then they were working in the bank just like you,
Right.
or probably a top engineer somewhere. And then when they come to these countries, they become an Uber driver
Spot on.
because they didn't feel they could transfer their skills,
Right.
or some people even feel they were too old to get a job.
Spot on. Yeah.
Something they couldn't communicate effectively. So I think they just don't have the information. They don't know. They don't speak to people. And
Correct.
from where we come from, we have this thing where we don't want to tell people our plans.
Of course.
And if you don't ask,
Of course.
yeah, you wouldn't know
You
anything.
wouldn't know. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, and, for like the wider audience that is watching this, just do your research. Do your research. Like Jide has said, like, speak to people, ask as many questions that would lead you on the right path. You dumping all that years of experience, I mean, like, I'm not saying that the Uber driver role or whatever it is that you're doing, is worth nothing, but you being able to piggyback on all the things that you've learned and making it blossom in your own way, there is nothing as rewarding as that. Being able to control your time, the type of job you do, being a professional, there is nothing, as rewarding as that. Don't kill all those years of experience. Don't waste it for nothing. You out there, just do the best of what you can. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask you for any tips you had for anyone that wants to go into that, but then again, you said it all.
Yeah, I have said it all. I'm on LinkedIn, Abisola Ogboye. Look for me also on IG, wherever you get to watch this session. If you're out there, you want to transition. Also, for people that have been doing customer service roles the longest, a lot of people, also, Jide, a lot of people come into this country just say, oh, I'm doing customer service. Like, why? Why are you doing customer service? I'm not saying it's bad, but they see it as a stepping stone. They say things like, oh, I have to first do customer service before I get that, like, big career role. I don't think it's compulsory. Sorry, the sun, it's just the light is like getting into my eye.
That's
Too
fine.
much of it,
That's
yeah.
fine.
So let me just adjust the curtain.
I
So,
was even going to ask before this, quickly, if you could tell us the difference between customer service and customer experience.
right. So customer experience is you thinking through a strategy, like series of strategies to ensure a company makes money, generates revenue, has the correct processes, uses the right technology, has
Right.
the right go-to-market plan, everything that has to do with crafting strategies for improving a process, a product, the life cycle of an organization, be it internally and externally, from start to finish. Like, it starts subconscious of how do my customers perceive this brand? How do my staff think of this process? How do I convince my directors or my investors that this product is good
Yeah.
enough for me to raise? Anything that has to do with crafting strategies for improving a process, a product, is what customer experience is about. Like, that experience that you are giving to people to make them feel good about something. If it's a
Yeah.
if it's a process, if it's a transformation journey, that experience that you're living with people, where you want them to go, right? That is what your customer experience is about. Think of Apple.
Okay.
They think through, like, companies like Apple, Amazon, all these really big companies. They think through customer experience right from inception. Now, customer service is
Okay.
you trying to help customers get value for money on a service or a product, right? Ensuring that customers are happy, ensuring that they get their money's worth on a product, right? Of course, like, we use it so loosely, like, oh, customer service person was so rude to me. Oh, customer service there is crap. All those things around. I went there and the person just kept me waiting. I went and the person was so rude. Like, the behaviors and the mannerisms and the pleasure that customers derive from a product, the satisfaction that customers derive from a product or from a business, is what we would usually term as customer service. So that's the difference. Like, customer experience is like really this huge, and customer service is just a tiny fragment of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. I understand better now. I understand better. I mean, it's been a very, very rewarding session, very informative, fun, packed, and thank you so much for joining us. I'm sure we'll bring you back again to go in depth and dissect, more
I'm
things on
here for
customer
you.
experience and go into more technicalities and all that.
Right.
So, but right now we don't want to confuse
Yeah,
people.
because it's a very short
Let's
session.
just
It is. We don't. And
yeah.
sometimes I'm sitting on my computer. I'm looking at Power BI, just trying to get out data. And sometimes I'm using, is it Miro or Miro? Whichever one.
Mirror.
Miro.
There's mirror, there's mural, whichever one.
On
So
some
many.
days,
There's even a whiteboard
yes, on some
on
days,
Confluence
yeah,
now.
on some days I'm mapped to Jira to look at my my product features, that, and then
Yeah.
tagged as the owner. So there's also all that part to it. So it's not all pizza and ice cream. There are some days where you have to, like,
Yeah.
crack your brain. On some days I'm saying ChatGPT, I want to write these documents, please throw me
Yeah.
pointers on what
Help me out.
help me
Yes.
out. So there's so many parts to it. It could get really crazy sometimes. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so it's been fantastic. Thank you so
You're
much. Thank
welcome,
you so,
Jide.
so much.
I'm really hoping that your platform grows like bigger and bigger and bigger, and then you get all the satisfaction, and it becomes as rewarding as you want it. Yeah.
Yes, it will be. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Amen.
Hey, you're welcome. Oh
All
my
right
goodness, the,
then.
the light is just getting my eye. I don't know what
I'm
happened.
so sorry.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah.
All right then.
Thank
So,
you.
all right. Bye everyone.
Cheers. Have a wonderful evening.
Bye.
It's lovely catching up with you. Yeah, bye.